Alright, so for this video we are covering the support immortals. In total, we just have these 7. It's going to be pretty simple, straightforward. So jumping into it, we're going to go over the immortals without their unique artifact, and then towards the end we'll kind of discuss how it changes with their unique artifacts. So jumping in with Ditto. Ditto. I'm going to start her off at B tier. She may change, but I doubt it. She basically what I'm looking at for this tier list is the SR just universally you can put it in a march and it has value. The A for this one is going to be most marches are going to get something out of this, and the B tier have a little bit more of a niche factor to it. So what I mean by that is Ditto, when you pair her with Merlin, she gets a lot of value off the chill that she gives. Otherwise, her value is in her physical defense that she gives your team. Well, if you're playing into a double mage carry team or a mage carry team in general, that doesn't have as much value. So into, say, a holy team and you're pairing her with Merlin, there's a fair amount of value in Ditto here. Now, if you're looking at pairing her or putting her into a shadow team where Himiko is the main target, your Merlin might be getting banished, something like that, she has a lot less value into a comp like that. So she is a much more niche situation within the supports. Cyrus is going to be A tier for now, and that comes down to he provides essentially a free resilience, a free weakness skill, right? He reduces 3 enemies' resilience by 15%. That means they're easier to crit. You're essentially getting extra crit chance against those 3 immortals. On top of that, when they are crit, they have stun chance. So in something like this, there are more teams that have these AoE fights. There's a theory about running him in Wind, getting the crit rate up, running him in Theo, and letting just Manko pulse the whole enemy team every 3 seconds to crit and try to stun them out. So he brings control while also enabling your team to just do more damage. He does better in fire because crit with William, crit with Trajan, whichever one. So there's more crit chance for the teams. But there are other builds where he could potentially be used. He could be used in a high crit chance lightning setup, paired with weakness, paired with Genghis Khan to really just enable him to run like energy burst and cycle his ability super fast and just murder people. Next on the list, we'll jump straight into Matilda. And Matilda, for me, I haven't seen a lot of Matilda built yet, but I'm going to throw her in A tier for now. She synergizes amazingly well with multi-hitters. You're talking Arash, Yoshi, Kublai Khan, Hippolyta, anything that hits multiple times on its ability cast. Because what it does is it increases the damage dealt by 20%, stacking up to 3 times every time you deal another immortal deals damage. So beyond that, it also increases the energy regen of the of the other immortals on the team by 20%. So just flat energy regen on. There's only a few situations where this really is not that strong. That's Hannibal. That's Alex. That's Manko, who he gets his channel off and it doesn't matter. And his every 3 seconds means he doesn't get stacks. He only gets 1 stack, and that's it of the damage increase. So there are a couple cases where this doesn't work really well, but generically, from what we've seen of her, it looks like she's going to work with more of these immortals than it would seem like off the top of the head. And is amazing when paired with like Kublai Khan and some of these spider killers. When you start looking at single target where they just dump into the same target, she makes them absurd. But even on PvP, she is really enabling some of these immortals that are good damage to be insane damage instead. Quinn is going to drop into the B tier. Quinn provides a lot for the team. He provides attack speed, he provides cleave, he provides anti-heal. So given all that, you'd think he'd be higher potentially. The big thing here is the cleave is only for wind immortals. The attack speed does help you get more attacks, to get more abilities off, because energy regen and your cast timer is only on your normal attacks. So he does help with the attack speed, but the cleave is only for wind immortals. Beyond that, he provides wound. His wound duration is a shorter duration than Genghis Khan's. It is only 8 seconds. And it doesn't do any damage, it just wounds them and that's it. Now, with more of the top end marches that are going to be running the Theos that you really want to wound, or the top end Earth marches that you're really going to want to be wounding because of the Zenobia heals, a lot of them are starting to get Purification now from the Triss event. Purification removes debuffs, so it's going to cleanse that wound. So they're still going to be able to heal through it. So he loses some of that wound value in the cases that you really need it the most against those big people. You could make an argument that he would be A tier and he can flex into some of these other comps, but you do lose that cleave, you do lose a lot of value on the attack speed on certain immortals. So for that, he doesn't hold any value in like fire as an example. I'm gonna leave him in B as a niche tier. He's still a really good option, and he's great when you start looking at building like the auto attack comp, the Alex Hannibal comp. But just generically, gonna keep him here for now. Zenobia, I'm dropping in the B tier because of we're gonna move her up to A. She's between B and A. Gonna leave her or move her up to A for now because she heals, but it's only the front two targets. Not the front two necessarily, the lowest two, which are typically the frontliners. Part of her heal is a heal over time as the Immortals auto attack. So for things like Hannibal, for like Alex, where they have a high attack speed, she's really good for Immortals like those. But when you start looking at Cleo and Charles, who have really low attack speeds based on their troop type, they get less out of that healing over time. So I think I am going to leave her in B because of that, because depending on what immortals you have in the comp, her healing is less or more effective. If you throw her with a Hannibal Alex combo, her healing is amazing. You throw her with a Charles Leonidas and some certain mage, like, her healing's not that much relative to the other comps. Tamiris is gonna get skipped for a moment. We're gonna come back to her. Theo I have at S because her healing is just all four immortals. It's big heals, and if your team's below 50%, it's doubled. It's 100% more effective. So once you start getting low, she heals you more. She's great for stalling out those fights, and just any team that has a 2 good damage dealers or 1 good damage dealer and a good backup damage dealer can use healing. She can fit into those comps. Like, she's just good all around. Tamiris is potentially a controversial one. Some people think she's S tier. There's some fights where she's F tier, and that's the thing. She is single target charm. She charms one target. That means the target turns around and starts attacking their own team. So if you're playing into a Earth as an example, she will turn that Charles, and the Charles will start attacking his own team. that Alex will start attacking his own team. So if she charms only the defense immortals, only the support immortals, she can be really useless in some of these fights, actually making your team worse sometimes because you're losing out on the damage that you would have had from having another immortal there. In other fights, she is the reason you win that fight, period, end of discussion, because she charms the enemy Alex, who turns around and just obliterates his team. She charms the Siegfried, who turns around and one-shots his whole team. So she has her S tier moments. She has her F tier moments. That inconsistency to me means she can't be higher than an A tier, but also means she can't be lower than a C tier, because she could never be an F tier when she can single-handedly cause a fight to win based on who she charms. So that middling, like, back and forth performance, she's gonna drop into the A tier or the B tier for me. But I could understand someone making an argument for A or C. I can understand the argument for S even, but fundamentally, with the fact that she can sputter out and do nothing on some of these fights, I don't feel like an S is a really justified opinion, personally. Now, once we start looking at the unique artifacts for this, it changes a little bit, but not much. Basically, Zenobia comes up, and that's it. Zenobia gets attack speed when she does it, which just generically helps out. So that helps her healing, because the more people are attacking, the more she heals. Ditto gets resilience on her, so maybe the extra resilience on her cast could bump her up, because it's generically helping against mages, it's helping against a lot of different comps. But I tend to leave it still in the B tier. Quinn gets an extra cleave target off of his when he gives it to people. That means nothing, because that only really is affecting Hannibal and Saladin and Baldwin and Atalanta. And when you look at their Dragon Power, which is the name of his ability, their damage from it, most of the time it's not a lot. So adding a second target to that isn't going to make or break the value of that. So he stays here pretty easily. Ditto stays in B probably, but I could see the reasoning why you would call her an A tier immortal with her artifact. The only one that I haven't talked about is Cyrus, and that's an extra 10% stun chance. That's a lot of extra stun chance when you crit, but you still have to crit. So because of that, I think he stays in A tier, because it is still conditional on you must crit. It's really good for him within a fire team, because it's pretty high crit to the team as a whole. But when you start looking outside of it, does that 10% stun make or break his ability to stall or control a fight? Not nearly as much. So this is it for this. The only thing we have left is the range immortals, and then we can start moving on to more interesting technical topics like the dragon talents and rallying and garrisoning, because there's a lot of things about rallying and garrisoning that people don't understand and realize yet. So gonna get the range out next, and then we can start moving on to other topics. But for now, that's it for this one.